bourbon makes me so happy. It's so tingly in my tummy and bad part.
Hello, and welcome to Revue de Bourbon, a podcast dealing with all things bourbon. I'm your co-host, Dusty, and along with my co-host, Wayne, we're just a couple of guys who love to talk about bourbon. So, whether you're at home, at work, or just in your car, sit back, relax, kick your feet up, pour yourself a drink, and enjoy the show. All right, yeah. How about it, guys? Another live Revue de Bourbon.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Got a couple guests here tonight. Sorry to say Wayne is not going to be able to join us. And we miss Wayne. And you can't replace Wayne, but we can think about him.
Yeah, we will.
We can have a cheers. We can drink for him. So.
I'm thinking, yeah.
Right. So, Wayne, we miss you, but we'll see you next time. On the mic, we have, you want to introduce yourself?
Hot Rod here again.
Yeah, I think you guys know who Hot Rod is. He's a recurring guest. And also, we have a new guest.
Yeah, Bill Sloan from Berwyn, Illinois.
Yeah. How you doing, Bill?
Yeah, great.
Nice to have you on board.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Long-time listener, first-time attendee.
Yeah, that's great. We love those. You're actually the first-timer.
Right, yeah. Bill looks like
it's an extra pleasure.
Yeah.
Bill looks like a bit of a bourbon drinker.
Yeah.
I am.
He's had a few bourbons in his day, and that's why we've got him on the show tonight. We are live at the Tim Faulkner Winterfest. We've got tons of great artistic things going on. Hot Rod, you want to tell us what you were doing earlier tonight?
Oh, yeah. Hot Rod was playing in a little group called the Karsten Nelson Band.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very nice group out of Louisville, Kentucky. And, we just played a nice set and great crowd here. It's been good. It's been very nice.
Played a great set.
Yeah. A lot of fun. There's like a fashion thing going on and lots of art.
I'd say there's probably 250 people here, 300.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Bulleit Bourbon is sponsoring this as well, which kind of ties us into this whole thing. We're going to be reviewing Bulleit tonight and George Dickel, both of which are under the umbrella of Diageo, which is one of the most giantest liquor people in the world.
I still love that cologne, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Aqua by Diageo.
Yeah.
Oh. If you don't know about Diageo, they do Johnny Walker, Crown Royal,
I think they have
Tanqueray,
Don Julio.
Yep. So these are tied together in that way, but they aren't related in the sense that they're whiskeys, but one is not bourbon. Bulleit is bourbon, and George Dickel is Tennessee whiskey. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, hey, what's Tennessee whiskey?
Yeah, hey, what is it?
I asked myself that last night.
Yeah, right. It's not bourbon. It's charcoal filtered, much like Jack Daniels.
Right.
George Dickel is the main competitor to Jack Daniels. They're in a bit of a war right now. And that's okay. You know, competition breeds a better product. And
True.
A rising tide raises all boats. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Bill.
So we had a little tasting of George Dickel earlier, and we're going to do another toot here in a moment. But we're going to start off with the Bulleit Bourbon. Bulleit, if you don't know, was made by Four Roses Distillery up until about a year ago. I don't know where it's coming from right now. They're building a distillery in Louisville.
Shelbyville.
Oh, Shelbyville? Okay, yeah. Well, they're also revitalizing the old Stitzel Weller distillery.
Glad to hear that.
I believe Bulleit's going to be made there as well, or at least stored there. So we have that to look forward to.
I think we have a guy coming that's going to give us a little more information. Yeah, he'll fill us in.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Let's jump right in here and taste this Bulleit.
Oh yeah.
Bulleit makes just bourbon and rye.
I also heard earlier today from one of the Bulleit reps, the ambassadors, that it's the fastest growing bourbon in the world.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
It's number 5 with a Bulleit.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the tasting here. What a great product. I've always been a huge fan of Bulleit. very well-rounded and good for the price. I know it used to be cheaper. It's a little more expensive now, but I think it's still a great value. Hot Rod, what do you think?
I like it. It's right in the middle of the tongue. Not too much spice or sparkle.
Yeah,
like we talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
And on the back, not a lot of pepper that you get. It's just a very well-balanced product.
Bill, how are you feeling over there?
Just fine. I'll tell you what. It started out smoothly and had a strong finish and a pretty darn good in between. Well-rounded.
Yeah.
Well-rounded it is. It's unanimous. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's as sweet as some other bourbons that we've had.
I'd agree with that. I kind of prefer, it's a personal thing, I kind of prefer a little bit of bite to my bourbon.
Right.
And that's what you get with this. I'd say it's probably a little bit higher in rye, which is why you get that bite than other bourbons. But very smooth all around.
Just enough bite.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Yep. Right.
If I were ordering this at a bar, I might want some ice. So I'd tell the bartender some Bulleit and.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Very little filler.
Yeah, back in the day, I don't know if you knew this, Hot Rod, but if you wanted something on the rocks, you just state the name of it in the word and.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you'd
really?
say, I'll take a Bulleit and
it was just understood.
Yeah, I'll take that on the rocks.
Interesting.
Let's get back to that, by the way. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, I like that.
One order at a time. I like that. So we're doing the Bulleit. We're going to have a representative from Bulleit on here in a little bit. So we'll get more into that later. We're back here to Revue de Bourbon. Welcome back, by the way. This is Revue de Bourbon live.
All right.
Live style.
Yeah, raw.
Yeah.
In your face.
On location.
At Tim Faulkner Art Gallery, where there's lots of happenings going on, one of which is Revue de Bourbon.
Yeah.
And we've got a special guest here joining us from Bulleit, who is a sponsor of this event. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Derek Podolsky, otherwise known as Louisville Diddy.
Okay.
I'm the national brand ambassador for Bulleit Bourbon, and we brought the Woody trailer here to Tim Faulkner Gallery for the Winterfest.
I love that thing.
It's a pretty awesome joint.
It's pretty cool, man. It's a rough job, but someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Spreading the gospel of bourbon around the country.
It's rough carrying around the coolest trailer in the world.
It is very cool, you know, when Neiman Marcus comes to you and they say, hey, we want you guys to have a really, really cool activation in our magazine.
That's not a bad thing.
You jump, you know, so we put it in there.
Now, how long have you guys been out with that? You've been on the road, right?
The 2014 Woody Tour has been going since August. We did 35 cities, a little bit of everything. We like to call ourselves elevating the tailgate.
Nice, yeah.
So if you haven't seen the Bulleit Woody trailer, check out Bulleit Woody on Instagram. And you can see pictures of us all over the country. We've been to football games, golf tournaments, private events, polo matches, a little bit of everywhere.
Right?
What's
Polo
that?
That's a joke.
Of course, we can call it a joke.
Thanks.
We actually did
All
go to a polo match, though. Yeah, it was interesting. I'd never been to one.
Yeah.
Croquet and
that's on the next tour, I think.
Yeah,
we're gonna do some
squash.
croquet.
And you're back out when? You're off for now, and then you go back on the road?
I'm not quite sure. We haven't put the final plans over the new year. Of course, it's the holidays, so holidays it's a little slower for us.
But you'll be back on the road soon.
We will be back on the road soon. We're hoping Super Bowl possibly.
Cool.
Great.
I just saw you were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right?
We did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. We've done a little bit of everything. I've been to the Vikings Stadium. I've been to Chicago Bears.
Man.
We've done the Jets. We've done the Dallas Cowboys. I went to the Florida State game last week.
Nice.
That was interesting. All because of bourbon, right?
God damn.
Yeah. You're living the dream of bourbon.
You know, it's. I'm very fortunate. I can't complain. You know, it's been a long ride, and I'm one of the newer guys in the bourbon industry.
Yeah.
But everyone's opened their arms, and it's very welcome, and we've had a good time.
That's what I've found with the bourbon community. Basically, every question I ask gets answered. Every invite is accepted. It's a very open community, warm community.
It's a big family.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, as long as this bourbon boom continues, we're all here supporting each other. When we opened up our new visitor center, Sitzelweller, which I think you were there, right?
Right,
you were there.
Yes. We were getting into that. What's going on there exactly?
Well, of course, if you haven't been to Sitzelweller, it's one of the real true cathedrals of bourbon. It was the home of Old Fitzgerald, Cabin Still, of course, Pappy kind of was the master distiller there. He did a lot of work on no chemists there at Stitzelweller when he was there. He didn't believe in chemists. It was all about the flavor and the profile.
Right, the chemistry was his tongue.
Exactly, right there. And that's a joke, right?
Yeah. I'll insert a laugh track there.
There you go. But, we're fortunate to be there. Now it's the home of Bulleit. Actually, Tom Bulleit's office was once Pappy's office. And if you come to the visitor's experience there, you can see that office. Sometimes Tom's there, and he's signing bottles and hanging out with people. He's definitely one of the country gentlemen, a true Southern gentleman.
That's another thing. If you visit bourbon country, you will sometimes find the master distillers just hanging out, signing bottles, just talking, just giving information, and they're just hanging out. They're just normal people.
It's actually a very home-knit, community.
Yeah.
It's very strange. If you live around these parts, you run into master distillers.
Oh, yeah.
They're out and about.
Yeah.
Very strange, but awesome for people like us.
Well, that's the great thing about coming to Kentucky. If you're coming to see the Bourbon Trail, it is a big family like we talked about. You can go and see 2 or 3 stops in one day. They've got some multiple tours now that'll take you to a little bit of everything. You kind of taste and feel a little bit of that Southern charm. And, bourbon country, being here in Kentucky, we definitely, I know for Bulleit, we're really pushing hard, that Southern lifestyle, that culture. Be that Southern gentleman. It is all about that bourbon culture, and that's kind of what we're trying to do with the Woody Tailgate, is kind of spread that culture, elevate that tailgate. You don't have to have just red Solo cups at the tailgate.
Right. Red Solo cups filled with Bulleit.
There you go, or a mint julep cup, or whatever it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for coming here. We're tasting 2 things that are under the Diageo umbrella that we spoke about earlier. We have the new George Dickel Barrel Select.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I've had some of the Dickel. Okay. Of course, Doug is a good friend of mine. He's the brand ambassador for Dickel.
Very nice.
We were just in Tampa last week. A big part of the reason why we're in Tampa was for we went to the largest Repeal Day party in the country.
Wow. Nice. At the Cuban Club, right?
At the Cuban Club.
Yeah.
4 floors.
New Orleans?
Tampa Bay.
Oh, Tampa.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right there in Ybor City, 4 floors, 1919 building, ballrooms, with the burlesque show, and we had 12 bars, and most of the Diageo products were there. George Dickel, Johnny Walker, of course,
There's
Bulleit.
plenty to choose from.
Yeah, and everyone was dressed up in their 30s attire. I had a plaid suit on.
That's great.
And it was a very fun evening.
Yeah.
So you were telling Hot Rod before about the growth of Bulleit.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. I've been with Bulleit for 6 years. Just came on full-time this year. But Bulleit is the fastest growing bourbon company out there right now. When I first started with the brand, we were around 43,000 cases a year. This year, we're on pace to break just under 700,000.
My Lord.
That's a huge jump.
It's a very, very big jump. We have the #1 rye in the world right now.
It's a
we're
great
very
rye.
fortunate. In our rye, we've kind of made it in a little bit more approachable style. For people who aren't necessarily familiar with rye, or maybe haven't gotten their palate wet with rye, this one, the Bulleit rye, is just a little bit easier, a little more approachable. For people who want to try and get in more of the rye style of bourbon, it's very hot right now. I mean, it's a little bit more of a niche. It's not bourbon because
it's a good gateway rye.
Absolutely,
it is. And our regular bourbon, being a high rye, 1/3 rye, 2/3 corn, it really lent itself to coming out with our rye. We came out with it 6 years ago. And I don't think we really had any expectations for it to, just to hopefully sell as well as the bourbon did. And now here we are, a few years later. Well, and they like the story behind a lot of these bourbons. We were very fortunate. We have a great story behind our bourbon with, Tom's great-great-grandfather, Augustus Bulleit, kind of coming up with the recipe, losing the recipe on one of his trips to New Orleans. Tom, 2 generations later, kind of reviving that recipe. And at first it was just a hobby, and now it's this big, phenomenal moving thing with a lot of gears moving and a lot of moving parts.
So you're saying that the original recipe is somewhere hidden in New Orleans,
right? On the way. I mean, originally the story goes Augustus Bulleit.
Under a rock somewhere.
There you go.
Treasure map somewhere.
Somewhere. Maybe one day that'll be the lost American treasure.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Well, hey, look. I want to get your
Let's talk about this Dickel.
Let's talk about this Dickel. I want to get your opinion on that because you probably don't have it too much. You're a Bulleit guy, but this is their new Barrel Select that they just came out with recently. It's their most premium product.
Yep.
Costs about $45 retail. Aged 10 to 12 years. This happens to be 103 proof. They they select, I believe, 10 barrels. This is a small batch, basically.
Yep.
And It's a really cool product. I'm eager to hear what you guys think about it. Go ahead and try that there, Hot Rod. It definitely is not bourbon.
Oh, wow,
No,
and
there's a lot of corn. Mm-hmm. It's very corn forward.
It hits you right away. It's got
that finish is very frontal.
Yeah.
I got kind of a Scotch feel for some reason, like a malty or like earthy.
It is
more earthy. And maybe that's the barrel, the charcoal that I'm tasting.
Well, and they also have, they do the filtration, the Tennessee filtration process with the charcoal.
Yeah.
After they're done, before they put it in the barrel. So that definitely adds a lot of flavor, a lot of the punch to the front of that nose.
Yeah.
So it's definitely got that Tennessee style.
When I first got it, I was drinking bourbon, and then I was like, you know what? It's time to crack this open. And I took a drink of that, and I was like, whoa. It's just, compared to bourbon, it is a drastic change. And then the next night, I tried it on its own first, and I liked it a whole lot better. It's kind of a drink within its own. I don't think it should be mixed, obviously.
It's a little different than a lot of stuff out there. I mean, George Dickel, a lot of people always say, oh, is it Jack Daniels? Because obviously Jack Daniels is another Tennessee whiskey that a lot of people have heard about.
Right.
Dickel's a little different. It's just as steeped in just as much tradition. Mm-hmm. If you're familiar with Dickel, their slogan is "Handmade the Hard Way." They've got 24 people that work at the distillery. There's no computers.
Right.
It's completely not automated. They burn their own charcoal. I actually had the pleasure of going on distillery for the first time right before the Bulleit Woody tour started. We did the New American Whiskey Conference. And a beautiful facility. Everything is just like you saw it back in the 1800s when they first came out. There's a big bust of George Dickel there. Very, very cool location. Everything, like I said, it looks just like 1800s. I mean, you walk in and it's like a frontier town.
And that's what I tell people about visiting distilleries in general. You go to Maker's Mark, you go to Jim Beam, you roll up and you're like, oh my God. I'm actually in bourbon country with these warehouses and rolling hills and old guys,
But you're still stuck
running the place.
You're still stuck in a period of time. It could be very easy for them to automate them putting the.
Oh, they could, yeah.
The dipping of the wax at Makers, or putting on the whatever
the labels.
The labels.
The cap. That's what they call them.
Sorry, I had a little much too much Dickel.
Oh, boy.
But it could be automated very easily, but it's not.
A little added history on George Dickel. This guy was around in the 1800s, started making his whiskey. He claimed it was the finest in the land compared to the best scotches. No doubt. Came to an end at Prohibition. And kind of went...
He couldn't get the medicinal license.
Right,
basically.
yeah. That put it into a lot of people. And then kind of revived in the 50s, I believe.
Yeah, 50s.
And now we're to where we are today, which is still about as authentic as it was back in the day.
Oh, very, very authentic, and they're starting to move a little bit more. People are starting to get educated more on the, the bourbon boom, and whiskey, North American whiskey is kind of following that that trail right behind it.
It's a fun one to drink.
It is a fun one to drink. They have a great rye as well. The Dickel 8 is very, very smooth and approachable.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit on the last live podcast. I had the rye. We were doing ryes, and I had never had it before. Very good.
It's a very good rye.
Yeah.
The 12 year is very good as well. We actually have a cocktail called the Dickel Pickle.
I saw that on
we make with a 12 year, and it's a little cheeky.
Dickel Pickle.
But it's a very good cocktail. It's a very good cocktail. Actually, my initials are DP, so Dickel Pickle. There you go.
There you go.
Maybe I'm ordering the wrong brand.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for all that wealth of information. My God.
No problem.
That's a whole lot.
That was a lot.
That's a lot to soak in.
You may need to rewind a bit and take that in again.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm loving the Dickel, and we're going to come back with you for a chat with one of the other characters that are running around this place.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Before you leave, you want to plug yourself again?
Sure, yeah. You can find me at Louisville Diddy on Instagram, and then also find the Bulleit Woody at Bulleit Woody on Instagram. And you
That's
can also,
a fun Instagram to follow.
It is, if you do get a chance, follow it. It's really neat. We go all around the country. We take pictures everywhere we go, different bars, different off-premise locations. Mm-hmm. Different private events, different sporting events.
That thing is seen in a lot of places, man.
We did about 30,000 miles with that thing this year.
If that Woody could talk.
Exactly. If that Woody could talk, it's been in a lot of places. And we have fun with it. So, come see it. If it's coming to a town near you, you can find out at Bulleit Woody on Instagram. Thanks, guys.
All right. All right, everybody. everybody. Welcome back once again. We got a new guest here tonight.
Hey,
wow. Amos Filmore. Welcome, Amos, to the show, everybody. Yeah.
Hello, Radio World.
They call him Seamus Amos.
No, they don't.
Okay. Amos, where are you from?
Well, I'm actually from Green Creek, Kentucky, which is down by if you take a left down there by Hazard, that's where you.
I don't know what you're talking about. So,
okay, well,
yeah.
Okay.
You're no stranger to whiskey, correct?
Well, I mean, if by stranger you mean like a loved one, then no. Yes, it's a loved one of mine.
Yeah, I'll take that as a yes. Tonight we got George Dickel Barrel Select and Bulleit. You've taken shots of both already before we started the tasting. You want to tell us your thoughts about those?
Well, the thing is, so I need to let the listeners in on Radio World about like my background. So my grandpa actually used to make his own whiskey, and the thing about making your own whiskey is you have to have a good product. So you got to start with something good. It's like if you were to make a cake. Let's say if you're making a cake and you'd use just bad flour, then you'd have bad cake. And he made good cake. Let's just say that. And so the whiskey that he made was superior in our community and was a lifeline, basically to our well-being.
Wow, great story.
Yeah. What was your grandpa's name?
Obadiah.
Boy, those were simpler times, weren't they?
They were, and the thing about it is, it was pure ingredients. It wasn't none of them Presbyterian vervatives, none of that stuff. They had just good, raw, pure product.
Wow, I didn't know about the vervatives.
Wow.
Y'all think that's funny? I mean, that's what's killing America.
All right. Well, Amos, can you tell us what you think about this Dickel brand
Well, I'm going
new
to tell you, the thing about the Dickel
Select
is, the Dickel is smoother than I thought it was. Mm-hmm. Like when I get told about it, I said, that's probably not going to be smooth. But then I drank it and I said, that's smooth.
Right.
And then I had the Bulleit and I said, well, that's a smooth Bulleit, is what I said. Yeah. And I would say that if you were doing a flash test, A and B, and you took me out to a barn and you sat it up and you said, hey, get you a drink of this, get you a drink of that, what's the smoothest? I would have to say that the Bulleit, I would have to favor the Bulleit.
What do you do for a living?
Well, it's funny you asked. I just switched this week. So I used to sell cars, but now I'm selling used. Now I'm selling men's sport coats. Men's sport coats.
Burlington factory?
I could tell you stories about Burlington. That's where I got my start. That's where I got my taste for men's clothing. But the thing about it is, I have something of a little higher, let's say, echelon of taste.
Fortitude.
I actually serve a higher...
you like the finer things in life.
Exactly. It's silks, it's polyesters, it's blends.
Cashmere.
Right.
Blends. Are you speaking French?
What do you think about microfiber?
The thing about it is it breathes good, and it looks good. It doesn't hold a wrinkle.
What about on a couch?
My couch is actually microfiber.
All right, well, there we go.
It's maroon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't show stains. And I tell you, the other thing is pet hair comes right off of it.
Wow, that's great. Thanks for that.
Quick. You don't need a lint roller, or if you take a wet washcloth, and they're not wet because that's going to make the microfiber look dark. If you just dampen and wring it out, and then take that washcloth and just like gently rub. Don't dig down in. The thing about microfiber is you got to treat it like microfiber. How would you treat Microsoft? Soft, right? So it's microfiber, like Microsoft. Right. So treat it soft. So you wring out the rag and then you just rub it across. And then the hair comes right off of it.
Wow. My God.
I'd like to promote something real quick if I could.
Sure, yeah. What do you got?
So I have my own bourbon brand coming out.
Okay, let's hear about it.
It's called Amos Wickel. Is that, you guys don't like that name?
No.
Sounds like something. I can't Go ahead. Continue.
Anyway, it's my granddad's recipe.
Okay.
And it's actually aged.
Okay.
It's aged 3 months.
Wow.
The first stage. There's 2 stages. Let me educate you about something that we do over in the county, as you like to call it, because you guys aren't from over in the county. What we do is we do 3 months in a cherry barrel.
Cherry barrel.
And then we transplant it over to...
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see you next week.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
We've got a new guest on the show. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello. My name is Karsten Nelson.
Yeah. Karsten Nelson performed here tonight, and, man, put out quite a performance, I might add.
Well, thank you, sir.
You kind of tore it up. It was all original stuff, correct?
All original except for the Hendrix cover.
Right. Which you kind of ripped up in a good way. You tore it up.
Tore it up.
It was off the chain.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, it was off the chart chain.
It was off the bar graph. So that was great. You're also an avid whiskey drinker, kind of, right?
Yeah, I'm a very passionate drinker.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen you drink some whiskey in your time. We're doing George Dickel tonight. Go ahead and take a 2 to that and tell us what you think. This is not a bourbon. This is a Tennessee whiskey, charcoal finished or filtered. So don't expect bourbon. Just expect George Dickel.
All right.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
First, it's a little sharp. Mm-hmm. Get this mic over here.
Yeah, just eat it.
It's kind of hits you hard, but then it really tapers off, and then I got a little bit of maybe like smoky cherries.
Ooh,
okay.
Yeah.
It's a new word.
As on the back end?
On the back end.
Of the throat?
I agree.
The front end, it was kind of like, pow.
Right.
But very good. It's nice. It really tapers off and becomes very mellow.
I'm going to tell you where I got it is the top of the palate, like the top of my mouth, rather than
the roof.
The roof of my mouth. And I got the spice there, and it was delicious. I don't know if I've had that before.
You kind of, it's a different way of tasting. Do you agree? You kind of have to approach it differently.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and say that it's way better than Jack Daniels. I think I don't know if people try to go from whiskey to bourbon or bourbon to whiskey. I mean, I feel like it's right in the middle. So if you like Jack Daniels and you're trying to go to bourbon, this is a good one to go to.
I would agree with that.
But it tastes nothing like Jack Daniels. No. It's almost like, I feel like Jack Daniels is equal to Maker's Mark.
Well,
it's very harsh.
It's really good stuff. It's their barrel select. Again, that means they select, I think, approximately 10 barrels to mix. So
and they mix them.
It's close to a single barrel. It's not a small batch. It's in between. So that's why you get that very specific flavor and high proof too.
Nice.
It's a good one. I like it.
Cool.
It's exciting.
I like it too.
Karsten, let's talk about your performance tonight.
Critique me.
Where can we find you on the interwebs?
Well, there's KarstenNelson.com, and my name is spelled weird. It's Karsten, and then Nelson, like Willie Nelson, Nelson. Good old-fashioned Nelson.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I can make it interesting.
Sure.
Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Red here. Hey, guys. How's it going?
We're doing all right. What'd you do tonight?
Well, I was one of the models on the runway, and I'm actually a local artist. So, guys, check out the Red Zone. It's coming in the springtime. Fall Neuro project for the kids, youth-oriented. Yeah, check it out. The Red Zone on Facebook.
All right, back to bourbon.
Yeah. So we can find you at KarstenNelson.com.
KarstenNelson.com.
That's with
I'm
the K.
on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You're doing some great things up there, and we've talked about you, Hot Rod and I have on the show before.
Oh wow!
Your music lends itself really well to bourbon, and you are a Louisville artist, and I feel like it's kind of in you, and it came out of you in a musical. You're singing bourbon, essentially.
I am singing bourbon.
You aren't saying that word necessarily, but
I feel
we get that vibe.
Musically, I try to sing about real things and maybe heavier topics of life and not just like goofy pop songs. And I feel like bourbon is a very real drink. It's like drinking a fine glass filled with nothing but truth.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See,
that's good.
That's just...
Go ahead and put that in a song if you don't mind.
Yeah, and I do. I have that song called Whiskey Kisses.
Yes, you do.
Right.
That's
Bourbon Kisses just lyrically wouldn't flow as well. I feel like. So.
Thanks so much for coming on. We had a great time tonight, and we'll put a little snippet of your Whiskey Kisses at the end of this as a little tag.
Yeah.
Do that, and remember, check out the Red Zone.
She got a smile to make an angel sing. Her song will make the devil grin. Never sits still, makes me chase, runs me ragged just for a taste of open arms and whiskey kisses. Fix my broken dreams and busted wishes. She sees in me what.
Well, hey, thanks again for listening to Revue de Bourbon. If you want to follow us on social media, go to Revue de Bourbon. We are on all types of social media under Revue de Bourbon. Please subscribe to us on iTunes if you don't. Give us 5 stars, all that jazz. This has been Revue de Bourbon live on behalf of Dusty Pockets and
Papa
and
Hot Rod here.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
I have a MySpace page. It's called Amos Whiskey. Hey, get you a drink of this, get you a drink of that. That's something extra for the listener.
And you can book this Woody. You can book this Woody.